Episode 41. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Tanhua's phone suddenly rang at night, but Tanhua, who was a heavy sleeper, chose to ignore it. No one would call her anyway. Her sister was working now, and Shen Ling. Why the hell would he call her? Maybe it's a prank call? But then the phone kept ringing after a few times, making the room filled with the all-familiar Barbie girls song. Tanhua couldn't sleep. Who is calling? Tanhua lazily picked up her phone and was about to curse the one who called her when she saw it was Mishu who called her. Mishu? Why did she call her at this time? Well, might as well pick up the call now. What's up, Mishu? Tanhua yawned when Mishu called her around 10 p.m. that night. She was sleeping before she answered the call, so Tanhua's voice was still kind of hoarse and sounded lazy. Ah, Tanhua, I have good news. This morning, Renyuan invited me on a date. Mishu giggled happily when Tanhua picked up the call and immediately bombarded her with the news. Mishu's voice over the phone sounded very cheerful at that time. Date? That's good then. Congrats. Tanhua nodded her head subconsciously and snuggled again into her warm blanket. She already knew Mishu liked Renyuan, as not too long ago Mishu confessed to her that she had feelings for Renyuan. So, it's good that Mishu was invited on a date by Renyuan. But why the hell should she know? She was single and never went on a date. Now she felt like a miserable girl. It's like this. I have to buy clothes for our date 2 days from now. I want you to accompany me to buy clothes. Okay. I will buy you clothes too. Mishu asked Tanhua to go shopping with her, as maybe Mishu wanted to try to experience shopping with her best friend. She went as far as using buying Tanhua clothes too as bait, so Tanhua would say yes. Well, Tanhua was now Mishu's best friend, so Mishu was of course very excited to bring her shopping. Tomorrow? Tanhua didn't really mind if she had to accompany Mishu to go shopping. She also wanted to take a break for a while. Yep, 9 a.m. I'll pick you up at your company. I'll also talk to Nanshen to let you go with me. Mishu was indeed responsible. She was the one who invited Tanhua, so she had to be the one asking for permission from Nanshen and picking Tanhua up at her office. Very considerate. Copy that. Let me sleep now. Tanhua rubbed her eyes into her pillow, and before Mishu could say anything, she ended the call. Pip, pip, pip. When Mishu knew Tanhua had ended the call, she laughed faintly. She knew that Tanhua must be sleeping, but she still picked up her call. What a kind girl. Tomorrow must be exciting. The next day, 9 a.m., Mishu had told Tanhua that she had asked for permission from Nanshen to take her shopping, and she also called Tanhua again to wait in front of the company building for her. Tanhua walked to the entrance of her company building as she whistled happily. Today she was in a good mood because she got to go shopping. Moreover, with a rich friend like Mishu, she could see money everywhere. Tap, tap, tap. Tanhua was obediently waiting for Mishu's car to pick her up when suddenly she heard footsteps from behind her. Tanhua was too lazy to look behind and chose to ignore it, but then someone suddenly blew in her ears from behind. Tanhua's ears were sensitive, so when that someone blew in her ears, she exploded. Who dared to blow in her ear? Come here and let her beat that person. Tanhua turned her head and was about to punch the rude person when she saw a very familiar face in front of her eyes, smiling like a devil while tucking his hand in his pants pocket. Boss. Why is he here? Boss, why are you here? Tanhua suddenly felt suspicious when she saw Nanshen standing calmly behind her. Nanshen should know that she and Mishu were going shopping. Why is he here then? I'm also planning to buy new shoes and a suit, so I'll go with you guys. Don't worry, I will talk to Mishu later. Nanshen very shamelessly joined Mishu and Tanhua to go shopping. What? Boss Nan wants to go shopping with her and Mishu? But boss, Tanhua was already half crying when she realized Nanshen's intention. Mishu was going to buy her girl clothes in secret, so if Nanshen came, Mishu wouldn't be able to buy her anything. What? You don't want me to go with you? When Nanshen saw Tanhua's sour face, he raised his eyebrow and darkened his face. No. Tanhua's previous good mood vanished into thin air after she saw Nanshen's displeased face. For some reason, not only because she couldn't buy girl clothes, but also because she didn't like to see Nanshen always following Mishu like a baby chick. Her heart would throb every time she saw Nanshen and Mishu together. This was weird. Tanhua's face turned gloomy as she walked a bit far away from Nanshen. Nanshen, who saw this, suddenly felt discomfort too. Isn't this doggo supposed to help him court Mishu? Why is it now that this doggo seems to dislike the idea of him tagging along to go shopping? Nanshen never once thought that Tanhua would fall in love with Mishu. As Tanhua said, she already had a girlfriend. So why the hell does this doggo dislike it if he goes shopping with Mishu? Of course, how could Nanshen know what Tanhua truly felt? He didn't know that Tanhua disliked the idea of him tagging along, because she always had her heart pained when she saw Nanshen together with Mishu. In the end, when Mishu came to pick them up, Nanshen tagged along with them. At first, Mishu was surprised when she knew Nanshen wanted to buy something too. But because she believed in Nanshen, she allowed him to come. Inside the car, Tanhua sat in the seat right next to the driver while Mishu and Nanshen sat in the passenger seat in the second row. This scene made Tanhua's heart feel hot. Why did she find these views of Nanshen and Mishu sitting side by side to be extremely irritating? Along the way to the mall, Tanhua was in a bad mood when she saw Nanshen casually talking with Mishu, talking about things that Tanhua didn't know. Why the hell does Boss Nan keep talking to Mishu? She felt lonely here alone. She could only enjoy the view outside the car as she didn't have anyone she could talk to. The driver was old, so Tanhua didn't find it fun to talk to the driver. She was left alone in the front seat to keep silent while watching Mishu and Nanshen laughing while talking to each other. This isn't fun. 15 minutes later, Mishu, Nanshen, and Tanhua had arrived at the mall, and Mishu had also started to choose her clothes. Because Nanshen was tagging along, Nanshen volunteered to choose outfits for Mishu, which was gladly accepted by her. Getting a man's opinion about the clothes she wanted to buy seemed good, right? But then Nanshen was so active, giving Mishu advice about which clothes would look good on her. And Mishu too was immersed in choosing her clothes. That's why Tanhua was instantly being excluded from Mishu and Nanshen, who were busy looking for clothes. She was so angry. Mishu invited her to go shopping, but why the hell was Nanshen the one doing the shopping? Tanhua looked at the two people who were kind of forgetting that she was there and sighed. Nanshen had asked her to help him court Mishu, so she might have to leave them alone now. Yeah, this might be the best chance for Nanshen to get closer to Mishu. Tanhua silently left Mishu and Nanshen alone with a heavy heart. She couldn't keep looking at those two being like that. She just couldn't. Tap, tap, tap. Tanhua was walking down the mall while staring at a few couples passing by with gloomy eyes. Why the hell were there so many couples here? She felt irritated. Tanhua increased her speed and walked quite fast because she hated seeing couples everywhere. But then after she didn't see any couples, she found her mind was thinking about Nanshen and Mishu. What are they doing now? Did they know that she left? Tanhua was too immersed in her own thoughts that her eyes were focusing on the floor, making her suddenly bump into someone. Bug. Splash. Ah. Tanhua felt a big impact when she bumped into someone's body, making her body jerk back, about to fall to the floor with her butt facing the shiny marble floor. Not only that, she felt that someone also splashed cold drink on her clothes, making it wet. Ah! Tanhua was already prepared to bear the pain when at the same time that someone grabbed her waist and pulled her upward, preventing her from falling to the floor. Grab. Why didn't she feel any pain? Tanhua, who closed her eyes earlier, slowly opened her eyes to see what happened to her. She should be falling down and have her butt hit the floor, right? Are you all right? A voice of a young man sounded right next to Tanhua's ear when Tanhua had just opened her eyes. Who is this handsome hunk? In front of Tanhua's eyes, she saw a handsome young man with a weird combination of black hair and blue eyes. His face looked cold like Renyuan, but somehow his attitude toward Tanhua wasn't rude. Well, even though he wasn't rude, his eyes contained no emotion. He really looked like someone who didn't have interest in anything in this world. This man looked exactly like a hybrid cat. That haughty yet lonely eyes looked exactly like her old cat at home. How handsome. At that moment, Tanhua had forgotten that her clothes were wet with the cold drink, and her waist was still being held by the young man. Hey, you alright? The man blinked his eyes in confusion when he saw Tanhua's expression. Did this boy knock his head over and become this silly? Ah, yeah, I am alright. Tanhua immediately snapped from her daze and also hurriedly stood on her own. It was embarrassing to have a stranger hug your waist, right? Moreover, she was dressing like a man now. It would be pretty weird if people saw a man hugging another man's waist like this. Thank you for your help, sir. Tanhua bowed down politely as she thanked the man, but then she didn't realize her shirt was wet with the cold drink, making Tanhua's slightly bulged chest visible. When the man saw this, his cold and flat face for the first time had a change. The man raised his eyebrow as he felt a sudden interest in Tanhua. This man is actually a woman? How interesting. For the first time, the man who always had a flat expression like a ragdoll showed a different expression to Tanhua. The corner of his lips subconsciously raised a little. At this time, Tanhua was about to quickly escape from that place to change her clothes when the man suddenly grabbed her wrist and pulled her back instantly, giving her a heart attack. Grab? What happened? Why the hell was she caught again? Tanhua hadn't even refuted or stepped on the man's foot out of anger when the man suddenly dropped a bomb on her. Hey, you are a woman? The man whispered faintly to Tanhua's ears. The man's voice was kind of monotone and sounded lazy, but his words immediately made Tanhua shiver all over her body. What? How did this man know? Tanhua immediately turned her head and looked at the man as if she were looking at a strange alien, which made the man quite taken aback. Usually, when someone had a secret and it was exposed by other people, their reaction would be shocked, afraid, or angry. But then Tanhua's expression wasn't anything like that. She instead looked as if she just saw a strange creature in front of her eyes. The man felt like Tanhua was thinking that he was an alien. When Tanhua looked at the man with such eyes, the man unconsciously let out a faint chuckle. Really interesting. This cross-dressing woman actually has such a unique response. She didn't look shocked, afraid, or angry. She just stared at him as if he was the one being weird here. What? Why are you laughing? Tanhua blinked her eyes innocently when she saw the man suddenly chuckle when she didn't even say anything. What's so funny, huh? She was being serious here. Is this man some kind of alien or what? How could he know her true gender? No, nothing. The man stopped laughing and without even saying anything, dragged Tanhua to a certain clothes shop with him. This sudden action of the man immediately made Tanhua feel like she was being kidnapped. Was this man a kidnapper? Hey, where are we going? Let go. Tanhua tried to use her martial arts technique to release her hand from the man's grip, and she did succeed. The man was slightly stunned when he saw Tanhua very casually use martial arts technique to break free from his grip. Oh, this woman surprisingly also knew martial arts, huh? Interesting indeed. Tanhua thought she was already safe and was about to run away, but then, before she could do so, the man suddenly used the same martial arts technique to instantly grab Tanhua's hand. This time, the man didn't leave any opening for Tanhua to break free from his grip. This man also knew martial arts. Moreover, he seemed very good at it. Realizing this, Tanhua's heart beat faster, and she finally had a little fear in her heart. Could this man be a mafia, or maybe Nanshen's enemy? If so, she would be in danger. Maybe Tanhua watched too many action movies, like spy movies and mafia movies, so her thoughts were really absurd. Which mafia would take someone to a clothes shop if they wanted to kidnap that someone? Illogical? Clap. The man, in just less than a minute, had already brought Tanhua to a private room inside a famous clothes shop, and of course, there were only the two of them alone inside. Blick. The man threw Tanhua over the sofa and released Tanhua's hand as he sat down casually on the sofa. This move made Tanhua instantly have a headache. She was so confused with this man's actions. Why the hell did he bring her here? And is it really necessary to throw her away? Tanhua very much wanted to interrogate this man, but then the man, up until now, didn't say anything else and just calmly read a fashion magazine on top of the table. Hey, why the hell did he suddenly ignore her? Talk a little, can't you? Hey, who are you? Why did you bring me here? Tanhua stood up from her sofa and shouted with all her might. She had felt enough of the bizarre things this strange man did to her. First, he suddenly knew she was a girl. Then he dragged her into this room inside a clothes shop, and now he went silent. She wanted to flip the table for God's sake. Don't shout, it is noisy. The man lazily yawned before he took a simple glance at Tanhua, who was huffing and pouting in anger. It's weird how he finds this woman's angry face kinda cute, like an angry bird. When Tanhua saw the man simply say she was being noisy and then ignore her again, she very, very nearly flipped the sofa behind her. Damn you retard. Is it that hard to answer her question? Don't act all mysterious. Huff, then if I ask you politely, will you answer me, dear sir? Tanhua took a deep breath and tried to ask the man again for confirmation. Maybe this man dislikes noisy people, so she'd better be polite and lick his boots clean with her polite manner. But then the answer the man gave Tanhua was enough to make her want to burn the room. Maybe. The man didn't even look at Tanhua when he said so, as he was still reading that fashion magazine he had in his hand. That's it. She can't take this anymore. Tanhua was so angry that she quickly stood up and walked fast toward the door, when suddenly the man spoke up again, this time making her freeze in place. Just go with that wet shirt you wear then, if you really are desperate, wanting everybody to know that you are a woman. The man smirked when he saw Tanhua, who was about to open the door of the room and leave. How could he let go of such an interesting toy? Gotta keep her here for a while. The man surprisingly had the same sadistic side as our second male lead, Nanshen. But if Nanshen was a two-faced bastard, this man was an emotionless doll with a lazy cat attitude. This sentence of the man made Tanhua look down at her clothes, only to find out that her clothes were so wet that her chest could be seen behind it. After all, she wore a white shirt right now. Gah! Her shirt was wet! No wonder that man instantly knew her true gender. Wait, her clothes were wet. Then she couldn't get out of this room if she didn't want anyone to find out her true gender, right? When Tanhua realized this, she immediately went back to the sofa with a swash. Plop! The man, who saw Tanhua's funny reaction, once again couldn't help but have a smile on his handsome cold face. Pfft, this woman. Her reaction is truly beyond imagination. She looks like someone popped out straight from manga or anime. So funny. Blue eyes, sir. Tanhua awkwardly tried to open up a conversation, knowing that the man actually had saved her by covering up her secret by bringing her here. She should thank him. Don't call me Blue Eyes, sir. I have a name. The man frowned a little when Tanhua called him Blue Eyes, sir. It sounded weird. But I don't know your name. Tanhua pouted and grumbled faintly when she saw the man look a little displeased. Tanhua's grumble was heard by the man, and his previous slight anger vanished right away. Right? He hadn't told this woman his name yet. My name is Lan Yanjin. You can call me Sir Lan. Lan Yanjin casually gave out his name, which actually could shock everyone who heard it. Except the oblivious Tanhua, of course. Ah? Lan Yanjin? Isn't that name means blue eyes? The oblivious Tanhua, of course, didn't know who Lan Yanjin is. She didn't even know how frighteningly scary the name Lan was. Even Nanshen, if he was here and heard this man's name was Lan, He too would at least have some kind of reaction, but of course what Tanhua noticed from this man's name was only the meaning. She didn't know that Lan Yanjin, this one name alone, would make many people shudder in both admiration and fear. Blue eyes, sir. Sir Lan. Sounds good. All right, blue eye, ahem. Sir Lan, my name is Tanhua. Now, may I ask you why you brought me here? Tanhua cleared her throat and went straight to the next question. Tanhua had been wondering about this matter actually. She just felt suspicious about this man. After all, it was weird to save a cross-dressing stranger he only met once. This man must have some kind of hidden agenda to bring her here. I am the one who dropped cold drink on your shirt. Gotta be responsible. Lan Yanjin shrugged his shoulder casually as he kept his focus on the fashion magazine. Hearing this, Tanhua thought this reason was quite reasonable. So this person wasn't suspicious. Maybe he was actually kind. When Tanhua was about to ask more questions, the door to the room was suddenly opened, making Tanhua nearly jump from the sofa. Clack. Excuse me, a beautiful woman wearing the shop uniform politely greeted Lan Yanjin when she came into the room, bringing a set of men's and women's clothes with her. Of course, Tanhua was not only startled, but also quite suspicious. What's now? She thought she would only get a change of clothes, but why the hell did this woman also bring women's clothes? Leave it here. Lan Yanjin pointed to the table in front of him and finally closed the magazine in his hand with a clap sound. The woman politely put down the clothes she brought and quickly left the room after making another polite bow. Clap. Now, it was Lan Yanjin and Tanhua again inside the luxurious room. Tanhua looked at Lan Yanjin, who was inspecting the clothes the woman brought earlier. She really wanted to ask this man why there would be women's clothes. She only needed men's clothes now, right? Here, you try this first. Lan Yanjin, without even hearing what Tanhua wanted to ask, threw the women's clothes into Tanhua's hand and pointed his finger to a dressing room at the corner of the room. Tanhua was of course shocked by Lan Yanjin's action. Why the hell did this man give her women's clothes? Sir Lan, this... Tanhua made a troubled face and hesitated to go to the dressing room. She really didn't know why she would wear women's clothes. Try it first. It's a gift from me. Lan Yanjin stood up from the sofa and walked toward Tanhua with a slow, unhurried pace. Tap, tap, tap. A gift. Tanhua tilted her head when she looked at the dress in her hand. This dress was a cute one-piece dress with short sleeves, which was good for spring. The dress was a very normal-looking spring dress with a soft pink color, added with a sakura pattern at the edge of the skirt. But even if it looks simple, the price isn't simple at all. Very cute. But Tanhua felt like she didn't deserve such a cute dress, but then before Tanhua could refute, Lan Yanjin grabbed her shoulder, turned her body around, and slowly pushed her to the dressing room. Hurry, or do you want me to change it for you? Lan Yanjin whispered with his low, lazy voice right next to Tanhua's ear, making her have the urge to punch Lan Yanjin to death. Don't whisper to her ear. Tanhua had a déjà vu with someone whispering and blowing air into her ears when Lan Yanjin did this to her. Somehow she remembered Nanshen. What is he doing now? Did he know she is missing? Tanhua sighed and closed the door of the dressing room before she started to change her wet clothes into a dress, the women's clothes Lan Yanjin threw to her earlier. At the same time, in Nanshen and Mishu's place. What? What do you mean you don't see him? Nanshen was currently asking the employee of the clothes shop he visited with Mishu earlier. Damn it, he just took his eyes off that doggo, and now that silly ungrateful doggo had gone missing. He truly had to give him a collar, huh? Nanshen and Mishu had just finished shopping when they realized Tanhua wasn't with them all this time. The moment they knew Tanhua was gone, Nanshen and Mishu quickly went to separate shops to ask if anyone had seen her. Yes, sir, I don't see anyone like you described. The clerk of the shop trembled when he saw Nanshen's dark face, which was about to explode. Fine. Nanshen gritted his teeth and immediately turned his body as he tried to ask another shop. At this moment, Nanshen really felt bad. He just felt happy when he went shopping with Mishu, but when he didn't see that silly doggo around, his mood dropped to minus. He felt so worried as well as angry. He was worried that someone might kidnap Tanhua because he was seen walking with him and Mishu, who were famous figures in society. What if Tanhua was really kidnapped? This was his fault for leaving her behind while he was too immersed in shopping with Mishu. He should just have taken Tanhua with him, even if he wouldn't be able to be alone with Mishu. Damn it. Tanhua, where are you? Nanshen had tried to call Tanhua several times already, but she turned off her phone. This made Nanshen really desperate. At Tanhua's place, take off your wig. Lan Yanjin looked at Tanhua, who was already changed into a dress but still had that man hairstyle wig on her head. It looked disturbing, but this woman was surprisingly quite cute in a dress. Yes. With another mumble, Tanhua looked at the mirror and slowly took off her black hair wig, revealing her true hair behind. When Tanhua revealed her real hair, it startled Lan Yanjin, who saw it. How could this be? Tanhua's hair was not long, it was short, only reaching her jaw. Not only that, Tanhua's hair color was surprisingly blonde. Tanhua knew this was weird, as she didn't remember the original soul having dyed her hair blonde, so she was born with this hair color. but it was weird that her sister's hair color was brown. Even her parents' hair color was black or brown. Only she and her twin brother, Tanhuo, had blonde hair but brown eye color. In fact, even Tanhuo and Tanhua's faces didn't resemble Tanhui or their parents' faces, which was often doubted by the twins. But in the end, their parents said that the twins looked like their grandparents, so there was no need to doubt it any longer. Back to Tanhua's place. Lan Yanjun stared at Tanhua, who by now already looked 100% like a real cute girl. Tanhua was indeed cute if she dressed up as a girl. Her short blonde hair, paired with the soft pink dress she wore, made her look like a fairy straight from the book. Even Lan Yanjun himself found Tanhua to be cute. But, aside from feeling that Tanhua was cute, he was actually quite startled about another thing. Lan Yanjun was startled because he saw Tanhua's real hair color was blonde. Well, it could be she dyed it blonde, but somehow, for a short moment, he recalled someone whom he thought was quite similar to Tanhua. When Lan Yanjun was a child, he met someone who had beautiful blonde hair just like Tanhua, but somehow he couldn't remember it clearly. Was Tanhua a child of that woman he met with his parents when he was a kid? But Tanhua's eyes weren't blue like what that woman should have, so she was definitely not a foreigner like that woman. Wait, what if Tanhua was a mix like him? Lan Yanjun was indeed a mix from Western and Asian. His father was from a super-rich Asian family, while his mother was a well-known model from the West, making him have black hair and blue eyes. Could it be Tanhua was also a mix? If that's so, Lan Yanjun's eyes suddenly darkened when he thought of this. In this world, a mixed blood like Lan Yanjun was often seen as a weird existence. They were seen as an alien or an abnormal existence. If Lan Yanjun's appearance only took after his father or his mother alone, then it would be fine. But his appearance took half of both his parents. Now Tanhua was also like Lan Yanjun. She had blonde hair, but her eyes weren't blue, they were brown instead. Oi, you? Lan Yanjun beckoned Tanhua to come when Tanhua was admiring her reflection in the mirror. Yeah? Tanhua actually felt irritated that this man interrupted her time to admire herself wearing women's clothes, but these clothes were given by Lan Yanjun, so Tanhua could only obediently come over. Are you half Asian? Who are you? Why do I find you familiar? Lan Yanjun looked straight at Tanhua's eyes with a serious expression on his face. His usual lazy attitude suddenly changed into a serious one. He really did feel like he had seen this woman before with her appearance as a girl now. He just couldn't remember. What? No, my parents are both Asian and, me? I am Tanhua. Also, I never met you before. Tanhua tilted her head in confusion. This body was fully Asian, right? After all, this body had Asian parents. Also, she never met Lan Yanjun before, so how could he find her to be familiar? Hearing Tanhua's innocent answer, the light inside Lan Yanjun's eyes dimmed, and he instantly went back to his lazy attitude. It must be a coincidence. Maybe this woman wears brown contact lenses or whatever it is. He just thinks too much. Lan Yanjun quietly went back to the sofa and plopped down after asking Tanhua to come to his place too. Now that I've already tried this on, can I wear the men's clothes? Tanhua quietly sat on the sofa across from Lan Yanjun's place. Well, she actually wanted to take a picture of her girl appearance just for a mood booster, but she was too embarrassed to do it with Lan Yanjun being here. You don't want to take a picture first? You won't be able to dress up as a girl in quite a long time ahead, right? Lan Yanjun smirked teasingly. Lan Yanjun actually already knew Tanhua wouldn't be able to dress up as a girl in a long time based on his deduction. Now, looking at how this woman looked so happy after wearing the dress, she must have wanted to take a picture to capture this rare moment. Tanhua's face turned bright red when her wish to take a picture with this appearance was discovered by Lan Yanjun. Fine, she was indeed eager to take a picture. And then go ahead, don't mind me. Lan Yanjun waved his hand signaling Tanhua that she could do what she wanted to do. Really? Yeah. Tanhua hurriedly stood up and was about to take a selfie using her front camera when she realized her handphone didn't have a front camera. Lan Yanjun, who saw Tanhua's flustered face, couldn't help but have the urge to tease her. She looked like a lost baby chicken. Hey. Lan Yanjun tapped Tanhua's head with his fist as he turned her head around to face him. What? Tanhua, who was already in a bad mood because she couldn't take a selfie, frowned when her head was being turned around by Lan Yanjun. Why the heck is this Lan Yanjun so similar to Boss Nan in attitude? Both of them are annoying. I can take a picture for you using my phone. Lan Yanjun waved his newest brand of smartphone with a very good back and front camera, making Tanhua almost drool from excitement. Ah, the newest smartphone brand from Uphone. The camera is so good from what she heard. Really? You will lend me your phone? Tanhua's hand trembled, and her eyes were glued to the phone in Lan Yanjun's hand. With that phone, she could take a very good picture. She would die from happiness then. After all, ever since she transmigrated here, she never found her picture wearing women's clothes, not in the photo album, or in her phone, or anywhere. Maybe Tanhui, her older sister, already destroyed it all, or the original soul of this body did it. She really wanted a picture of her wearing women's clothes. Otherwise, one day, maybe she would forget her real gender. Yes, but after that, you have to take a selfie with me. Lan Yanjun pushed Tanhua quite far from his place to take a good picture of her. Of course, Tanhua immediately agreed with Lan Yanjin's request, without knowing that this would be something that made her fall into another trap of this lazy devil. Lan Yanjin began to take several pictures of Tanhua in many poses. Tanhua would sit, stand up, and do many kinds of poses she wanted to be captured by the phone. While taking photos of Tanhua, Lan Yanjin always subconsciously had a smile on his face. Well, how could he not smile? In front of him was a cheerful, cute young girl who was happily modeling with her new appearance. This girl looked like 20 years old. He was 28 this year. Would the age gap be too big? Lan Yanjin had already taken an interest in Tanhua, so he had also begun to think of the future. It was rare to see someone like Tanhua who could bear disguising as a man, even though she clearly loved to be a woman. Not only that, somehow, Lan Yanjin felt like he was seeing a bright, glittering sun every time he saw Tanhua smiling happily like this. This woman looked naive and innocent, but she was good in martial arts and had a tough heart to be able to hide her true gender, even though it was obvious she was forced to do so. Tanhua didn't know that this short meeting with Lan Yanjin would change her life in many ways. Okay, now let's take a selfie. After that, you can change into men's clothes. Lan Yanjin grabbed Tanhua's arm and pulled her closer to take a selfie together. Well, it was weird for Lan Yanjin to go as far as taking a selfie with Tanhua, but this cat-like man already had a plan. He was 28 years old and still single, so his dad and mom were pestering him to get a girlfriend or, if possible, a fiancé. He could now show this selfie picture to his parents to deceive them. After all, he didn't live in this country and wouldn't meet this girl again in the future. His lie would be super safe. 10 minutes later, Tanhua had finished taking a selfie together and had gotten her desired photo in her phone. She had also changed into her usual man appearance while getting herself one cute dress Lan Yanjin gave. Now, it's time to meet up with Nan Shen and Mishu. Thank you for everything, Sir Lan. Tanhua waved her hand happily to Lan Yanjin as she went out from the store, holding a bag of dress Lan Yanjin bought for her. Tanhua thought she was going to go alone, when suddenly she saw Lan Yanjin was already walking beside her with a super casual poker face. What's with this man? Tanhua was about to say something to Lan Yanjin when suddenly Tanhua heard someone familiar calling her name from afar. Tanhuo? Along with this voice, Tanhua saw a very familiar figure running toward her at high speed. Before she could fully recognize the person calling her, she heard the sound swoosh, and in the next second she was dragged away by that someone who called her. Come here. This someone was of course none other than Nan Shen. Actually, when Tanhua and Lan Yanjin were walking side by side, Nan Shen was searching for Tanhua and coincidentally he saw Tanhua. He was so excited to find Tanhua, but then he saw a tall man walking beside Tanhua as if they were acquaintances. Who is that? Nan Shen was paranoid that Tanhua was kidnapped by someone, so when he saw a man beside Tanhua, he nearly charged forward and punched the man, if not for the man's unique appearance. Black hair and blue eyes. Among the people Nan Shen had met, only one person had this kind of trait, a mixed blood of Western people and Asian. Isn't that Lan? Lan Yanjin? Nan Shen was so shocked that he froze in place for a second. He really didn't expect to see Lan Yanjin in this kind of mall. Why is that man here? He is supposed to be in England. Nan Shen's body shook a little as he tightened his fist. This Lan Yanjin was indeed someone who could even make Ren Yuan and Nan Shen tremble when they heard his name alone. Lan Yanjin, the sole heir of the Lan family. This family was so powerful that even if the Ren family and Nan family were merged, it still couldn't beat the Lan family. The Lan family owned an international fashion company as well as an entertainment industry specializing in modeling. The Nan family and Ren family may be the best families who owned top fashion companies in their country, but the Lan family's influence had spread to other countries as well. This was why Nan Shen had such a reaction. He first met Lan Yanjin 5 years ago when they were attending a party organized by the Lan family to celebrate the chairman's birthday. Nan Shen could be considered as Lan Yanjin's friend. Nan Shen also first met Ren Yuan at this party. The three of them were of the same age, at that time 23 years old. Because of that, the adults tried to make them become friends, but only Ren Yuan could get a little bit closer to Lan Yanjin. Nan Shen couldn't at all, because he found out that Lan Yanjin had similar personalities with him, which then he disliked. Both Nan Shen and Lan Yanjin were sadists. It was just that Lan Yanjin was lazier than Nan Shen, and he wasn't two-faced like him. In the end, Nan Shen never liked Lan Yanjin because, aside from their personalities, he was also often compared with Lan Yanjin by his parents. He was compared about how Lan Yanjin could already make evolution for the Lan family company, but Nan Shen was still doing his work just like a normal CEO. This made Nan Shen actually feel inferior compared to Lan Yanjin. Nan Shen tightened his fist when he saw Tanhua together with Lan Yanjin. Why is his doggo with that bastard? So he's going to meet this young Master Lan. Tanhua. Nan Shen could feel like something exploded inside his heart. He called for Tanhua and without saying anything else, grabbed her wrist and dragged her away, which ended up with this scene. Come here. Nan Shen used quite a lot of power in his grip, making Tanhua subconsciously flinch. Be boss. Wait, boss, it hurts. Tanhua wanted to say that her hand hurt, but before she did, Lan Yanjin already helped her by saying it. Young Master Nan, let him go. You hurt his hand. Lan Yanjin appeared beside Nanshen and with a smooth movement he slapped away Nanshen's hand on Tanhua's wrist while pulling Tanhua toward him. Nanshen felt his hand was empty, and when he turned back, he saw Tanhua was already with Lan Yanjin again. When Nanshen looked at Lan Yanjin, he saw a smug smirk at the corner of Lan Yanjin's lips, instantly making him triggered. What are you doing, young Master Lan? That boy is my employee. Nanshen raised his eyebrow in displeasure and shot a glare at Tanhua. Silly doggo, you are my doggo. How could you get into other people's side now? Unfaithful doggo. With his glare alone, Tanhua, who had already spent a lot of time with Nanshen, instantly knew what he meant. Ah, boss is angry. Wait, why is boss angry? Could it be Lan Yanjin and boss aren't on good terms? Tanhua had a confused face facing Nanshen's glare, making Nanshen's urge to strangle her alive increase. This doggo. Courting death. Nanshen gnashed his teeth in anger seeing Lan Yanjin casually grab Tanhua's hand as if they were on good terms. What happened between his doggo and that bastard? Why do they seem to know each other? What exactly happened when this doggo went missing? Nanshen was in fact a very possessive person. Once he claimed something to be his, he won't let other people touch it without his permission. Now Nanshen had claimed Tanhua to be his pet. He was super irritated when someone else, moreover a man he hated to the bone, touched his pet. He is the first one to discover Tanhua's talent. He is also the first one who claimed him as his own. Lan Yanjin, don't you dare snatch his pet. Can you let go of my employee? Nanshen, even though he was so angry, still maintained his forever good smile on his face. You don't even take good care of your own employee. How disappointing. Lan Yanjin laughed mockingly and pushed Tanhua slowly to Nanshen before he casually left the place without saying anything else. He was only here for business anyway. He didn't have time to fight with young Master Nan. Tanhua, who saw Lan Yanjin leave, couldn't help but sigh in relief. Oh God, that troublemaker had gone. Tanhua was relieved because she had a feeling that the longer Lan Yanjin stayed, the more Nanshen looked displeased. Maybe at one point, Nanshen would explode. Heish, she didn't know what's going on between this Lan and Nan, but one thing she realized. Lan Yanjin and Nanshen weren't on good terms at all. Maybe they were enemies. After Lan Yanjin was gone, actually, Nanshen also secretly released a sigh in his heart. He knew that his family wasn't as rich as the Lan family, and his achievements weren't as great as Lan Yanjin's, so every time they met, he felt anxious. Nanshen wasn't someone perfect. He too had his weaknesses, which was actually, he felt inferior to Lan Yanjin. Nanshen may be super confident even in front of other businessmen who were richer than him, but in front of Lan Yanjin, he felt small. They were both 28 years old, both had no girlfriend, and both were the sole heir of a super big company. But Lan Yanjin managed to make his family company grow to the point of making it famous on the international stage, while he only managed to make his family company famous on the national stage. Secretly, Nanshen felt insecure whenever he met Lan Yanjin. This was the sole reason why he disliked Lan Yanjin. It's because Lan Yanjin could make him feel like he was nothing. Boss, are you alright? In the middle of his thought, Nanshen heard Tanhua calling for him while tugging his sleeves very casually, as if they weren't boss and employee at all. I'm fine. Nanshen's face actually looked tired, but because he wanted to act cool in front of his doggo, he wore that gentleman mask again as he stroked Tanhua's hair. He didn't know why he felt so agitated when he saw Tanhua and Lan Yanjin together. He just suddenly felt threatened. Nanshen was actually going to scold Tanhua because she suddenly went missing and she turned off her phone, but then he just didn't feel like doing so. He knew that this was his fault for ignoring Tanhua when Tanhua was the one who was supposed to have fun with Mishu, so he really didn't have the right to get mad at Tanhua. Let's go. Nanshen once again sighed before dragging Tanhua by her back collar, bringing her back to where Mishu was waiting for them. That day, the seemingly peaceful shopping ended up in a bad mood for Nanshen, anxiety for Mishu, and curiosity for Tanhua. Nanshen was in a bad mood because of Lan Yanjin, Mishu was anxious about her date tomorrow, while Tanhua was curious about her mixed appearance. Thus, just like that, the morning turned into night. 8 p.m. at Tanhua's house. Tanhua had just finished her meal and had washed the dishes together with Shenling when suddenly she got another phone call. I am a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. Tan, your phone. Shenling, who was the nearest to the phone, immediately grabbed it and threw it to Tanhua so she could take the call. Shenling's reaction was so bizarre because he just felt irritated every time Tanhua's phone rang. Every time he heard that ringtone coming from Tanhua's phone, he felt sick. How could a grown-up woman still use a Barbie song for her phone ringtone? You can just give it to me normally. Tanhua caught the phone and quickly looked at the number calling her. Who is it this time? Mishu? Hello? Tanhua had just said her greeting when the person on the phone suddenly talked so much like doing a rap. Tanhua, tomorrow is Mishu's date. Should I come with them and wreck their date or what? The one who called Tanhua this time was the idiot boss, Nanshen. Why should she care? She didn't want to bother Mishu's date, and she didn't care whether Mishu ended up with Renyuan or not. She just wanted to live her peaceful life, okay? Tanhua almost kicked the wall after answering the call. Why the heck does this boss ask her for everything? Is she a love master or a therapist? Solve your own love problem, please. She was also single without a boyfriend. Boss, can you just stop wrecking other people's dates? Tanhua was tired when she heard Nanshen plan to tag along in Mishu's date just to wreck it. That would be too childish. Who would be so shameless to tag along in someone else's date just to prevent those two from becoming a couple? At least, she would never do such a shameless thing. Then what should I do? I want to know how their date is going, and if possible, prevent them from having close contact. I don't want those two to become a couple after this date. Nanshen's voice over the phone sounded desperate and tired. Nanshen was indeed desperate and tired. He didn't want Renyuan and Mishu to officially become a couple after this date. If that happened, then he would be the only one who was still single, right? But he also didn't want to date some random person who only sees his money. Mishu was the perfect candidate to be his girlfriend. How could he let Renyuan get her first? But you still can't tag along. It will be awkward for the three of you. Tanhua massaged her forehead, trying to give some common sense to this childish boss. It's a surprise that Boss Nan actually acted like a little brat. She thought Boss Nan would be like a mature, super cool CEO, like she always found in novels or dramas. It turned out that this Nanshen wasn't that mature at all. So, what do you suggest? Nanshen sighed when he asked Tanhua for advice. Tanhua already has a girlfriend, right? So he should be knowledgeable about something like this. Tanhua never thought that her sudden lie about having a girlfriend would backfire at her. Now Nanshen thought Tanhua could be his love teacher, so he would always come to Tanhua for advice. Tanhua went silent at Nanshen's question. Well, it was true that she didn't want Nanshen to shamelessly tag along with Mishu and Renyuan during their date, but then, if they want to prevent Mishu and Renyuan from becoming close, what should they do? Tanhua didn't realize that she had already included herself in Nanshen's problem. It should be Nanshen's problem, but then she was also dragged into it, and now acted as Nanshen's partner in crime. We can tail those two from afar? Tanhua had this idea when she suddenly recalled a scene from a drama she watched. In the drama, the people there also tailed a couple who were on a date and did everything they could to accidentally prevent the couple from doing anything immoral. So when we tail them, we will also try to prevent them from doing anything unnecessary? Nanshen nodded his head subconsciously, hearing Tanhua's suggestion over the phone. It was indeed a good suggestion. They could watch Mishu and Renyuan, and they could also do everything they could to prevent those two from doing anything that would make them into a couple. Yep, this is a good idea, right, boss? Let's tail them. Tanhua was excited that she finally had a suggestion for Nanshen. Now she had done her duty as Nanshen's counselor, and she could sleep. All right, don't forget to meet me in front of the company building at 8 a.m. Their date starts at 9 a.m., so don't be late. Nanshen cut the call after he said this. Tit. Ta sighed in relief that she just did her job well and was about to have a nice dream when she suddenly jolted in shock. Wait, what did Nanshen say? Meet up at 8 a.m. in front of the company building? Because Mishu's date starts at 9 a.m.? Don't tell her. She also had to go with Nanshen to tail Mishu on her date. Why? Why did this happen? Tomorrow is Saturday. She is supposed to laze around in her house watching drama. Why the hell does she have to go with Nanshen just to tail Mishu and Renyuan, in order to prevent them from becoming closer? Tanhua had the urge to bang her head on the wall and curse her own clever idea. This happened because she gave Nanshen that idea. But why did she have to come along with Nanshen? This is unreasonable. That night, Tanhua ended up sleeping while having a nightmare about tomorrow's agenda. She would have to play spy with Nanshen when she was supposed to have her day off. Of course, that night, both Nanshen and Tanhua didn't know that while they were planning to tail Mishu on her date, they would actually be going on a date too. Enjoyed this episode? Share your thoughts in the comments. The next episode will be released once we gain 3 more subscribers and 4 likes on this video. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. It's free, but helps the channel grow and reach more people. Your support means a lot. Thank you for watching.